In this first episode of Reality Check, we discuss motivation, parental influence, imposter syndrome, and tips that every 18-year-old should learn. Coming up. What is up, guys? I would like to welcome you to the Reality Check podcast. Here we discuss personal development from a realistic approach. I'm Antoine, and these are my lovely hosts, Dave and Anna. Why don't you introduce yourself, guys?
So hi, everyone. I'm Anna. I'm a certified business coach for ambitious women who want to start and grow a profitable online business. So I work with coaches and service providers, and I help them get to 5K months. And I'm just so passionate about personal development and helping women grow and become financially independent. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what I do.
So my name is Dave Doyle. I'm a serial entrepreneur and also a coach. I've been in the restaurant franchise industry for 22 years. I am a certified Napoleon Hill trainer. I'm a TEDx speaker. I'm also a TEDx organizer. I also work now for an online education platform, taking in content providers. And so everything I do is about learning and personal development and getting better for ourselves. And so this Reality Check podcast is right up my alley, and we're going to have a lot of fun here.
All right, guys, and I'm Antoine. To introduce myself, I am the CEO of Creator Source Studios, and I am the host of a lot of shows that you have here on Splitting Image. And the brand of Splitting Image is all about personal development and motivation for millennials and for all the stuff that we do. And we want to come together as a unique unit and help you guys prosper, help you guys become more, because we personally believe everyone has it in them to be the greatest version of themselves as long as they take account of the things that they're doing and they learn from their mistakes and everything like that. So for me, I want to help as many people as possible with this podcast. This is the first episode, and I'm very excited because the first topic we're going to have on our docket is definitely a doozy. It's something that it can be controversial to some people. Others kind of agree with it. Some's like, you just ruined my whole business plan, man. So we're going to ruin business plans today by talking about, is motivation crap? Let's get into it. What's your initial thoughts, guys?
Motivation is internal. That's it. So motivation is absolutely not crap, because we either are motivated to do whatever it is that we want to do, or we're not motivated. And it doesn't matter how motivated or inspired you are in life in general. You're going to have the ups and downs, and you're going to have days or minutes or hours where you are motivated and other times when you're not. But what I've learned is that motivation is kind of an internal thing. For myself, I don't feel like anyone else can motivate me to do anything. That motivation has to come from within. I can be inspired by other people. I can have my energy raised by other people, but the internal motivation to actually get up and go do something, or live out my goals or my dreams or my passions, has to come from within. And if you have a hard time finding motivation for something that you're passionate about, maybe that's not the thing that you should be actually actively pursuing. So how's that for a start?
That's great. That's great to even comment on that. Maybe you're not really passionate about what you're doing. Maybe. So Anna, what's your thoughts?
So I agree with everything Dave said. It's totally true. But I also think that like motivational content is basically like inspiring content. And I think inspiring content is important because that show others what's possible for them in their lives. And I think it's important to like surround ourselves with this type of content. But it's also the fact that, like Dave said, it all comes down from who we are and what's inside of us and what's our goals or mission or vision. And relating to that every single day. And that's where the motivation comes from. When you have this vision for yourself, it's just so much more inspiring to take action and be motivated to keep going and keep pursuing your dreams.
Exactly. And, speaking about motivational content, but first, like on my end of is motivation crap or not? Um, I feel like it's a double-edged sword. There's not really, it really depends because it's person to person. Motivation can be two different things. Motivation can be where people are watching motivational speakers, motivational content, and think they're actually doing something, which, if you believe in the law of attraction, you kind of are if you're thinking about your goals and envisioning them and everything like that. But also motivation can sometimes be that crutch for some people. Whenever they're saying that they want to do something or that they're trying to do something, they will use motivation as either excuse for why they can't do something, or use it as I need more motivation to go and do what I want to do. So with motivational content, my question to both of you guys is, how should people really approach motivational content in your standpoint? Especially because, both of you guys have content that's in the motivational realm. You have content that's actual actionable tasks, tips, and everything like that that people can take. So how you guys are practitioners of motivational content, I would say that. How do you guys think people should approach it?
Motivational content is there to inspire. So I think it's partly we're talking semantics here and definitions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Motivation versus inspiration, right? So motivational content is really intended to inspire action. But the motivation piece, which I was talking about earlier, I think is individual to each person. That's an internal burning desire to actually do something continuously. But motivational content, I mean, a lot of it is crap, right? It's not good.
It's not.
But it's also very subjective, right? My content could be crap to somebody and it could be amazing to somebody else too. But I think the intent is good. I think because there is a lot of very negative information out there. There's a lot of very negative content out there. And if somebody is wanting to provide inspiration to others and put out motivational content, I have no problem with that. As long as they have an audience, as long as they can affect and make one person or a hand, we've all heard this. As long as I help one person, yay, I'm a hero, right? And it's true. It's true though. As long as what you're putting out there is affecting somebody in a positive way, then I don't have any problem with it, even if it's not that good.
Really talking about just motivational content and just talking about how people should approach it. Like you said, it's very subjective. It's one of these things where it's like for instance, I'm looking at a book that I have right here. I'm gonna have a cheap plug in here, guys, even though I'm not sponsored by it, but Built to Serve.
Yes. We talked about that one, yeah.
By my boy Evan Carmichael. Yes, it's a really good book. He even signed it for me, so I was happy. Yeah, definitely go get it if you ever looking for a book to really jumpstart that motivational spark and you're trying to be an entrepreneur. This is one of the best books that you can have for it. So there you go. And no, I am not sponsored by Evan Carmichael, but he is a good friend of mine. So, but for instance, taking that. He includes with his book, when you order it, he includes actually a workbook so that you can actually build upon the steps, what's going on in the book. You can follow along and you can work through it. I think that's where people get their wires crossed. A lot of people just want to have that initial like motivation and stuff like that. Just want to watch a video, just want to do this, just want to do the bare minimum. And they don't realize that doing the bare minimum, doing it like that, there's nothing that's going to really come from it. Unless that motivation is built upon, like you said, a burning desire for something. So you have to be passionate. Like having motivation is a piece of the puzzle, but you need to be passionate about whatever it is that you want to be motivated to go do. If you want to work out and if you want to get big and strong, you need to be passionate about health, passionate about weightlifting, passionate about learning about nutrition and everything like that. You have to be passionate about it for you to see it through, because at a certain point, you're going to ask yourself, why the hell am I doing this? You're going to ask yourself, at a certain point, you're going to ask yourself, why the hell am I doing this? It's not worth the trouble. let me just go back to doing this, this, and this. But if that passion is there, that burning desire that Dave has talked about, and then you have that motivation with it, that's the perfect equation for success. From what I've seen, I can tell you guys probably agree with that as well. Um, but Anna, so talking more about that motivational content, because you mentioned it, how do you feel about it? How do you feel people should approach it?
Yeah. So pro tip, like I always like when I talk with my clients, what I tell them is, yes, creating motivational content and inspiring content is important, but let's switch it up as well. Like let's add other type of content in your suite. Let's talk about educational content, giving actionable steps and informational as well, and talking about your product, your program, your services, whatever it is that you sell. So it's always like mixing it up to show everyone what it is you are all about. And having only motivational content, yes, it's fine, but you don't only want an audience of followers, you want clients as well. So that's what I teach my clients, and I find it really interesting, the balance between all of them, and making sure we are not only consuming motivational, but also going for educational, informational, all types of contents to really grow our personal development and learn more, learn further, basically.
And it's not even to grow your business. Like that grows your business, don't get me wrong, but it's even to jump in to grow you as a person. You don't want to just be watching motivational content all the time. Like, you know, you got to have other interests outside of watching like Tony Roberts every single day. You got to have other interests.
Well, the big thing too, like we all, obviously, I'm assuming we're all readers, right? We all have our libraries and our books and things like that. The thing is, I couldn't even count how many books I've read, right? But if I've never studied one book, or if I've never applied anything that I've learned in any of those books, then I'm just a reader. I'm just a reader.
Of course.
If all the information's up here, but I've never applied it, and I've never actually used any of that information in my life to go do something with it, then it's just knowledge. It's not applied knowledge. It's not success. It's not anything, right? So that has a big impact too, and relates a lot to what Anna was saying too, right? You have to change the game. You have to do other things. You can't just be consuming content. You have to be using and applying and living the content that makes sense for you, that fits you and what you're trying to do.
Of course.
All of this assumes that people have goals, that people actually are trying to accomplish something.
So people have
goals. If you don't, right, and if you have a burning desire for something, and if you don't, then that's okay. Then just consume until you do have something that you want to go accomplish, until you do have a goal. And then you can start applying all that stuff that you've been reading or watching or listening to.
To know and not do is, how do you really know? Like, how can you say you know about this, that, and the other, and you don't actually use it? You know, you can watch motivational content all the time, but are you actually using the stuff that is being said in this content? Are you actually using it? It's kind of like how you see all these people buy these different courses. I'm going to buy this course. I'm going to buy that course. This, that, and the other. But
I bought them all.
Buy all these courses, but never actually do anything with the knowledge that is in the course, and never really act upon it, and then say the course is garbage. How can you say anything is garbage and you never actually used it? You see? So I think we're all basically saying the same thing about, yes, motivation is great. Yes, it's something that is mandatory, but it's not the main ingredient. The other ingredient is you actually putting, the pedal to the metal, putting your head down and working and going towards that goal. If you have goals, like Dave just said.
So the main ingredient is action, and so let's flip it on Antoine here, our gracious host and creator, with Creator Source Studios. How did you start Creator Source Studios? Was it by reading a whole bunch of books and having a dream, or was it by, hey, I think I'm going to do this and I'm just going to do it? And then you started something, and now you've got this splitting image, and you've got like how many branches, how many channels do you have going on right now, with how many people in the whole umbrella, and they're all working on different programs. Anna and I were talking about this before we started. right? We're part of this, but you've got what, 5 or more other channels of different things going on at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't learn that by not doing it. You learned it by just putting it together and doing it, and calling on people that you wanted in your space. That's how we met in the first place, right?
Yeah.
You saw something that appealed to you in me, and probably you did the same thing with Anna. And next thing you know, we're on your podcast, and it's like, yeah, let's go. This is awesome. That's doing it. That's taking action.
Yeah, and it's weird because I look back on it sometimes and I just see how, because I'm doing stuff that there's people like twice my age can't really put together or can't really ask. I ain't never say, see, there you go. There you go. I never said that. But yeah, like a lot of this stuff was just me actually just doing it instead of going to, because I've had people who, one of the biggest things that a lot of people complain about me for, and I'm being transparent, right? They complain about me saying that I don't think things through enough. They say that I don't think things through enough. I admit there's times when I get like a spark of inspiration about something and I just go and do it. The reason why is because no matter how much I plan, that first like brick that I'm laying down towards an idea, until I actually do something, it's just a plan. That's all it is. It's just a plan. You have to actually do something. Like you get, and I think this is hilarious. You get some people who have been in my team in the past who used to say, "Well, Antoine, you don't really think this through enough, and this, that, and the other." And the example they're using actually is something that turned out well for me not thinking about it. That's the funny, like that's the part I don't get. Like me not thinking and me just going ahead and doing it, and it gets results. That's a bad thing. How? Is it more of just you don't personally think that's how things should be ran, so you think that is stupid that way? Or is it actually getting results? Like the next point that we're really going towards is inspiration doesn't equal results. We can all say that this is how something's supposed to be done. But until we actually do it, you don't know how it's going to be done. There's a bunch of business plans that people took 10, 15 years to plan that had to change. Coronavirus is such a great example. Okay, this is such a great example. Anyone who's sitting here and tell me something about a damn plan for the rest of my life, I don't want to hear it, because you did not know that this was about to happen at the beginning of January. All of y'all had your little plans saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go get fit in the gym. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna grow taller. I'm gonna be a baller," or something like that. You told yourself these things, but when the coronavirus slapped you and knocked you on your behind, what did you do after that? Did you fold, or did you adapt and overcome? That's the number one question. So if I were to tell you my main ingredient for how I built Creator Source Studios from 2015 until now is adapt and overcome. There was a bunch of things that always came into my airspace that could mess me up. This person left. This thing went wrong. Mm-hmm.
Can I change that?
What's
so
up?
You said adapt and overcome. I'm going to add something to that. I'm going to add a third piece.
What's up?
Act, adapt, overcome.
The 3 A's. We just invented something on this podcast, guys. This is great.
AAO.
That's why I said 3 A's. AAA.
No, adapt or act, adapt, overcome. It's an O.
Overcome. Okay. Adapt, overcome. But yes, that's how I went into everything. But thank you for the question, Dave. That was great. I appreciate it. So let's get into the point about inspiration doesn't equal results. I think we've been saying it a lot right now.
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
Yeah, we pretty much talked about that. So with mindset being everything, we need actionable steps. What would you, when you get that spark, what's next? I want to go to each of you guys, and then I'm going to say mine. What would you say is your 5 tips for when that happens? You get that spark, you get that inspiration, you want to go, you have a goal that you want to achieve, you want to get going. What are those 5 tips from you?
So the 5 steps that I think is really crucial when you get that spark and you want to start a project, a business, whatever it is, I think the first thing you have to do is research. Like research as much as possible around the subject, around the topic, whatever it is that you want to get into. Make as much research you can and learn about it. Learn everything you can. And then the second thing I would do is I would talk with people. Go out there, have conversation, get on the phone, ask questions. Don't be afraid to get into a conversation with someone who's been there, with someone who is already walking the path you want to walk, and learn from them and ask questions. I think really doing that is really going to help you figure out if this is the right path for you. And then what I would do is I would practice it, like find a way to just start small and practice with one person. If it's a service, like practice with one person and get going this way and see what it feels like. See if this is something that inspires you, that you think you are really good at. Because if you don't practice it, if you don't see what it is firsthand that you want to do, it's going to be really hard to imagine yourself down the road doing that if this is not something that is passionate for you or doesn't like inspire you. And if it is, if you're practicing it and you see it fires you up and it lights you up, then I would repeat it, repetition, and do it over again, and share it with your community, share it with your audience, anybody, your friends, your family, share it and talk about what you're up to right now and get the word out there, get the buzz out there. So I think these are the first few steps that I would do if I get this first part is, doing all of that research, talking with people, practicing it, repeating it, seeing how you feel about it, and then sharing it with everyone. I think these are the first steps that I think is really good to start with.
Wow.
Solid.
You put it down. You put it down. Now
Solid.
she did.
I took notes.
Okay, and so Dave, what would you say are some of yours? What are some stuff like you say, hey, you got that inspiration?
What she said.
Exactly
what she said.
Exactly what she said.
Yeah, no.
That's what honestly, she said.
Yeah. What are we in the office here? Okay, so yeah, I totally I agree 100% with everything she said. There's always more, but the biggest thing is taste everything. And I think a lot of what she said in her 5 points is exactly that, right? The expectation, I don't even need to bring this up. You said in the introduction, this is for millennials, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm a Gen Xer, and so I still have some of that baggage and mindset of the old school. Mm-hmm. Where people still have that feeling like, man, I need a career that's going to last 40 years. It just doesn't exist. Come on. So
not anymore.
So tasting everything. So having a buffet in front of you of things to try. When you're at the buffet, right? What happens?
You try everything.
If you're getting, first of all, you're going to get your money's worth, and you're going to walk out of there about 8 pounds heavier. But through that process, you're going to try a lot of things, and inevitably you're going to go back to your table and there's going to end up being stuff on your plate that you just don't eat. And you may have a little bit of guilt because you tried it and you feel guilty for leaving it behind and giving up on it, right? But it's just not for you. You're not going to enjoy it. You can't cram it down your throat. And so why would you carry on eating something that you absolutely don't like? That's a job or a path to entrepreneurship. It's the same thing. If you're doing something, if you had an idea and you thought, this is brilliant, and then you start on it and you kind of realize that, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or it's not working out the way I thought, or the people I'm working with or the people in the space I just don't align with. Like, you can't just keep going through and like a freight train hoping that it's going to turn around. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If you don't like the taste, you don't like the taste. Mm-hmm. It's okay to leave it on the plate and let the server come and clean up that plate and go back to the thing that you loved and taste more of that out of that buffet. Right?
That's the best metaphor ever.
That analogy, right? I want all of that just chopped up in the prettiest package that we can find and just like put it out there, and we're going to blast it all over the place. That was incredible.
The entrepreneur buffet.
Yeah, the entrepreneur buffet. I've never see. This is what I'm saying. That's why I like these two, because they have so much knowledge and so much perspective from their own point of view, from their own experiences, not from, oh, well, I read about this or something like that. They've actually done it. So that's what this podcast again is all about. Is us actually talking about things that we've done, things that we felt like, so that we can express how we got through it and help you, the viewer or the listener, if you're listening to this on podcasts. That's why we're doing this, and that's why we want to help. And for me, I would say I would add one thing to the list that Anna had, and I think because from personal experience, it has helped me, and it's just go do.
You'll always learn more by doing than by reading or learning from others.
Yes.
You have to do both, but unfortunately, most people feel that, like you said, watching the content, just consuming content, whether it's reading a book, listening to podcasts, whatever it is, watching inspirational, motivational content, that's not enough. You have to do. And so, I agree. You have to do both.
You have to do it.